Welcome to my third video, Empire Total War, United Provinces. What I'm doing now is I'm looking around the European routes to see what I can do with my fleet. It's not a very powerful fleet. We've got Great Britain here, who are a very powerful seafaring nation. They're our ally due to William of Orange. Just heard my dog start to yelp there. That's probably because it's bonfire night tonight in Britain and we've got fireworks going off, so if you hear any bangs it could well be real bangs outside, and the dog might yelp, so many apologies for that. What I'm doing now is I'm looking through to see who's allied to who, because I want to go and raid a trade route. I want to try and get some income by putting my fleet on somebody's trade route. I'm hoping by putting it in the English Channel there, near some English ships, well, I should say British ships now, because although we haven't had the political act of union, we've certainly got the uniting of kingdoms. So what I'm looking is to put them somewhere fairly safe in the Channel so that I can continually replenish them with other ships that I can raise from that port. It's a trading port, so I'm only going to get brigs out of it, but at least I'll get something. So, again, many apologies for the banging in the game. I do remove that later on. I have found a way, though, of making the voice sound a bit higher, so I hope that's a bit better. I say higher, I mean louder. I don't want to be squeaking at you. Alright, okay. So what I've done is I've checked out, who's who, and I've moved my fleet over onto the trade route to raid. Sometimes you need to declare war on somebody. Well, no, you always need to declare war on somebody in order to raid from them, and in this case it's France that I shall be raiding from, certainly at war with Spain. Now, in the last video, you'll probably remember, we wiped out the pirates on one of their islands. We're now going to get some of our troops together here to take them out of another island. I am raising troops, the only island where I can raise any regular troops. You'll notice early on in the game and one of the videos I said to you that I tend to try and steal technology. It takes a long time to research your own. It's actually easy to send your gentlemen into someone else's, and I usually choose the Prussians. I go for them because they develop their technologies quite early in terms of military technology. So I'm really hoping to get hold of a plug bayonet before I meet the pirates, because they do have swords and they've got muskets as well, and all we've got is muskets, so it would be nice to have that little bit of an advantage over them before I go in against them. If I don't get it in time, I'll still go in against them though, because it's important to me that those pirates are wiped out. In order to wipe them out I need a decent sized army as well, and the problem is then I've got to maintain a decent sized army, so I'm not too worried about losing troops in an encounter with them rather than moving them around, so it won't bother me really to take some pretty hefty casualties on there. It'll just save me having to maintain the troops afterwards. It sounds a bit harsh. I wouldn't do that with real lives, by the way. This is only a computer game. First World War mentality there. Just throw them away. It's alright, we've got plenty of them. Anyway, here we go. Putting a couple of regular infantry units there onto my fleet so that I can start moving them across. I do apologise. We haven't wiped out the first set of pirates yet. We're still after the first set. I'd forgotten. I thought we'd already engaged some of the pirates. No, we haven't. We're going in against the first pirate island here. There are only two of them. And I'm going in with 2 lots of regular infantry. Should be able to gain a bit of experience here. I don't tend to play the game all the way through. I do tend to, as soon as they've all routed, end the game, because when you're attacking either a fortification or a town or a village or whatever it is, once they've gone, they disappear from the board. They don't run away and then regroup like they do in battles. So as soon as they're running, then that is, as far as I'm concerned, the end of the battle. Okay, so we've got our regular infantry here. I don't want to lose too many of these in this battle. Correcting what I said earlier, I want to try and keep them intact. So it's going to be a bit of a boring battle here for you to watch, I'm afraid. We're going to be doing regular 18th century warfare here, where we line up. We hope that some of the enemy will come and charge us. We hope to get closer to one of them without the other one being able to hit us. And of course they've got one general's unit, and one thing that this game will do is try and protect its general. Well, I'd do the same, which means in order to do that, that you're, in this case, withdrawing half your army out of the battle, so you're putting one group of pirates in the front there in order to really look after your general at the back. That means that I have a 2-to-1 advantage over his pirates. Since he's defending, his principal action is going to be to stand in position, or rather to hold position. So he might come forward and then go back and consolidate when he gets hurt, but what he's unlikely to do is get everybody together and charge me and risk his general, which is good for me because this is a 1-on-1 or a 2-on-2 situation here. He could well charge me frontally and even defeat me in this battle. So I'm not playing around, I'm not hiding in woods, I'm not trying to outflank or anything. I'm doing 18th century warfare, perfect lines. We haven't got any firing by rank or anything, any sort of clever salvo fire, so it's only the front rank that's going to fire of my musketeers. Once they've fired, that's it, they then reload. The rear ranks do nothing, they just stand there. There goes the first plume of musketry fire that you can see there. He's come slightly within range, I don't think he even got a shot in there. He's got stung and he's gone backwards, you can see his general at the back there. Another thing you'll note from these games, I hope I don't repeat it later, it's bound to happen again though, is that you can hide units in woodland, but you can't ever hide your general figure. So there's no point in putting your general figure inside woods thinking that you can use them to ambush. You can't, because they'll never hide. What you have to do almost is use your general figure, or your unit that your general is with, as a decoy almost, something that's going to attract the enemy to come and attack it, so that you can then attack that in the flank. So, in other words, the pirates that we've got in front of us, well, we know there were only 2 in the first place anyway. Had there been only 1 here, then we'd know obviously that the other one was hiding. Yeah. Okay, it's good if he comes into that crossfire area. He's not quite doing that, so not all my unit on the left there are firing. You can see some of them are firing. It does mean that none of the unit there will fire until the rest of them there are loaded. You might ask, well, if only the front rank can fire, why don't I extend the whole thing so that I've got one enormous front rank? But of course you can see most of those on the left are not firing anyway. They can't reach even at this length of formation, so we might as well keep the depth, so if we lose any casualties the other men can step forward from the rear ranks. Yeah. Okay, bit of a boring battle for you to watch here, I'm afraid. Another thing I will mention is you can group your units together. You'll notice I did that with the ships. If you do that with infantry, yes, it does work when you're marching in a fairly safe situation. If you were to have a large army and then advance it in such a way that it has to sort of turn or reform itself, then none of the units in the whole of that army will fire until the rest of those that are grouped together are actually in formation. So you could find that you've got 2 or 3 regiments that could all give fire very, very close to the enemy, and they'll just stand there getting shot to death by the enemy because the 10th regiment at the end, right at the end of the line, is still forming itself. So you do have to be very careful of that. Because of that, if I can manage with units individually like this, then I certainly will do. And you can move them together. As you can see there, I can grab both of them and just point forwards, and they'll go forwards in an organised way anyway. I can turn them as well. I can do all sorts of things. So, okay. So what we're doing is we're gradually creeping up on them, giving them more and more fire, until eventually their morale will break, and then we can advance on his general, and continue to push him back. This battle, I know, is going to go beyond this particular video, so it will go into the next one, I'm afraid. The idea is to rid the world of the pirates. There are 2 islands of pirates. You can see that on the campaign map. You often see me sort of dallying around on the campaign map looking at various things, and that's what I'm looking for, to see where people are. There are pirates all over the campaign map that are raiding trade routes, including my own. As soon as the pirate islands are captured and they don't have a home base, all the pirate ships disappear. I hope to put the new video on tomorrow, so this one will go on tonight. You won't be able to watch the rest of this battle until tomorrow, I'm afraid, so please come back tomorrow.